What is up, everyone? What a beautiful day we had today. Scott Brandt coming to you from Colorado Springs late on a Friday evening, almost in Saturday morning. But man, today was great. Yesterday was a beautiful day. I know I didn't go live, fell asleep. I had to get sleep and whatnot. But met with a couple of different individuals. Met with Maria Schoening, great individual. I was blanking because great individual. First name is very unique and whatnot. But she is an individual that if you're looking to have your house cleaned, be an individual that you'd want to talk to and speak with. Got a couple other people too that clean houses. My mom and also Miriam does that on the side too. So just three great individuals that if you're looking at needing assistance with cleaning your house, helping you in that endeavor, three people to reach out to. But it was nice just to have the discussion yesterday. Talked about business a little bit and then just talked about life in general. Just different things that we're pursuing, different things that we're looking at, bringing on board and whatnot. And then today I met with Dennis Moffett, another great conversation with that piece. And it's funny because you can always look at ways to learn something new, look at the viewpoints of somebody else and see if there's something that maybe you haven't fully considered. And hopefully StreamYard works. I know I did a live a couple of days ago where the last 3 minutes of it just blacked out. So you know what? Technology sometimes is a fun aspect just because you just don't know what you may get for it and whatnot. But today's conversation with Dennis was one of those that was very mind-blowing. We were talking a little bit just with faith and different aspects and whatnot, but he had brought up the fact that the opposite of love is fear. And a lot of times when we look and consider the opposite of what love is, a lot of people are like hate. But Dennis actually brought up the point that if you really look at it, it's not hate. Hate is a byproduct of fear. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that. So it's one of those unique conversation pieces and just things to consider and whatnot. And then it was funny to hear because he was talking about the King James version for the Bible and whatnot. He had brought up that when it was being translated by King James, he actually had given a decree that 14 to 16 things were going to be omitted from the version. And I was like, man, that's something that after that was brought up, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But something I didn't know. So it's just one of those things, just conversation piece, always learning, always finding something out different and whatnot. And so a couple exciting pieces. Today, Miriam and I had met and ended up shooting the video for our workshop that will be launching the 17th of October. And so if you have anybody that you know that could benefit from going through a divorce and feel like they're on their own island, and this is the thing too, it may be one of those things that you know somebody that's gone through a divorce, but they're not very vocal because they may be fearful about being judged, or they just don't know what to do. And they feel like maybe they're on their own island and they just don't know how to get off of that, or they may feel like they're the only one that's ever been on the island. So we do have a workshop that we're putting together and finishing that up. It will be through Eventbrite. So once that's up and running, should have it finalized and no later than Sunday up and running. Once that's up, I'll put the link out on my Facebook page. I'll share it to a couple of different groups that I'm part of. And if that's something that you need, sign up for it. If you know somebody that's going through it and needs help and have that tribe, share it with them. Because the more we can help individuals through this process, the easier it is to get through it. A lot of times people try to go on their own, and it's the fear of being judged, the fear of not wanting to be vulnerable and transparent. So it's just one of those things that through our experience just helping other people out. And then on Sunday morning at 7 in the morning, our next episode of the podcast will be released, the Journey Beyond Divorce. So that will also be released on Sunday morning. So it's exciting, some big things, but I have to laugh because today we had shot the video one time for the workshop, and Miriam looks at me after we get done and she's like, "You want to reshoot that again?" I was like, "No, it's okay." And then something clicked and I was like, "Hold on here." So I looked at her and I was like, "Are you trying to say you want to re-record?" And she's like, "No." I was like, "Let's tell the truth here." So I asked, and she's like, "Well, sometimes I listen to the podcast and say I'm a lie, and I do it too. So, and I even do it on my lives and whatnot." So we sat there, and I thought we were going to get another recording done of the video just because we started laughing and it was just having fun and whatnot. So we were able to get the second take done. It turned out a lot better than the first take. Thank you to Miriam for suggesting to re-record it. So it turned out well. So I'm excited and whatnot, but it's just one of those things, a learning experience for me, because before, if somebody would have brought that up, they'd be like, "No, it's okay," and keep pushing forward. But then it's one of those things that with the learning experience, life experience, things click and you're like, "Okay, I understand." So I had to laugh just from being able to see that take place. And I'm just excited for everything that's taking place. I'm excited for the progression, and I'm excited for what's going on. Myself and Patrick, we received a couple mock-ups for our logo for Two Native Sons. Man, great turnout. Excited to share that with individuals and just to see and envision the future with that business and what we have planned with it. It's huge. Big things are going to come out of that, a lot of impact, and just to look at the large collaboration net that we are creating with this platform and our business. It's a beautiful thing because today, another buddy of ours, Garrett Goggins, had reached out to me. He reached out to Patrick, and it was so funny because what really came to mind for him was also something that Patrick had talked about. We had talked about 15 minutes before I had talked to Garrett, and it's just unique to see the connection piece, see things happening, see things growing and whatnot. And so it's an exciting aspect taking place. But that comes into aspects of what you believe, what you're putting out, the energy, what you're focusing on, because it's one of those aspects that some people just don't realize. Because another thing that Dennis had talked about, and I was like, man, that's a unique perspective to that, is he had talked about the quote of birds of a feather flock together. And he was talking about a study that was done that with individuals that go through a breakup, go through an expired relationship, go through a divorce, if you haven't done the work and healed yourself and worked on the inside, you're going to be in that same vicious cycle. And so it's one of those things that the vibes that you put out, the energy that you put out is what you attract. And so he was talking about they had done a study and had individuals in the room, and was watching this and whatnot, which I was like, man, this is a very unique perspective. But they were discussing the fact that woman walks through the door on one side, hasn't gone through the healing process, and it has that heartbreak, is still suffering and just not putting out what they want to attract. And so through the other door walks a gentleman that is similar to what she's used to, the verbal abuse, anything that tears her down. And what happens is they're attracted to each other. And it's one of those things that just comes down to the fact that I've talked about it before, that you've got to do the work. A lot of this, well, not a lot, but 99% of it is an inside job. It's an internal job. So you've got to work on yourself. You got to heal yourself. And I've talked about this. This was something that I had discussed during the 1 Million Cups presentation that we had done on Wednesday, which if you want to see that video, I've put it on my Facebook page. I know Miriam had shared it. But I talked that the fact that you have to love yourself. When it comes to forgiveness, that's for you. You've got to forgive yourself. You can't wait for somebody else to forgive whatever. You've got to forgive yourself. And that's a hard part for a lot of people, that taking responsibility, even if you had 1-2% doing in the whole situation, you still have to take responsibility, which leads to forgiving yourself. And that was one thing that I brought up for myself, that it took 14 months after the divorce finalized for me to really have it click where I forgave myself. And I had to take responsibility for my actions. And that's really what's led to the change for me, and bringing me to a different level. I had to take responsibility, but I forgave myself. And so that's a big driving factor for me when it comes to coaching and working with individuals. My niche that I'm looking to work with, or not the niche that I'm looking to work with, but the niche that I work with is the gentlemen that have gone through a divorce. Because as guys, we suck at showing our emotions. We suck at being open and vulnerable and transparent. A lot of times guys just want to do things on their own. And so it comes down to the fact that you're only one person. You're with yourself 100% of the time. And if you don't change your thought process, you don't change your mindset, you don't change how you speak to yourself, you're going to be in this vicious cycle that continues to repeat itself. And so this is the time that you've got to reach out. You've got to ask for help. But a lot of times we don't want to do that, because if we do that, we feel like we're going to be judged for being shown to be weak. And it's not a sign of weakness. To stay strong, you've got to ask for help. But as guys, we suck at it for whatever reason. And this is something that we got to get over. And that's where it's the work. It's not easy. And results are going to be coming based on your effort and your drive. And I thought it was unique today, because Dennis actually talks about, when he talks to individuals, works with couples, individuals that have gone through multiple divorces, have the fear of, I've been divorced twice, 3 times. I don't want to go through that whole aspect. And when he asks individuals, how committed are you to changing, 1 to 10? And if he's got somebody that's like, I'm a 9, he's like, that's cool, but you've got to remember that you're not 10. So you've got a 10% out that you could say, oh, I'm done. Tough times come up and you're like, screw this, throw in the towel. And so you've got to be mindful that if you say, I'm going to try whatever, I'm going to try this, you're giving yourself an out to say, well, it didn't work because of X, Y, Z. Try, and this comes into the fact of what Yoda had said. And when I heard this growing up, I was like, what is this? But now where I'm at, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. And so the quote that Yoda had talked about was, do or do not, there's no try. And so you either are going to do it or you're not going to do it. But if you come in there and say, oh, I think I'm going to try this, you're just giving yourself an out to give you that escape route to say, well, it didn't work, but I tried. No, screw that shit. You either do it or you don't. So if you want to change, you're going to do it. You're going to go out there and do it. But if you're not committed, you've got to do the work. You're the only one that's going to save yourself. You have to be the hero of your own life. Other people are there to be a guide for you, a mentor for you, but you have to save yourself. And so that's the biggest thing that people have the issue. They don't want to do the work. They want the easy way to do things. Show me how to get to the end result. I don't want to do the work. It's like, no, like you've got to do the work. And so for me, it's a passion of mine to help gentlemen out that are going through a divorce, that have gone through a divorce, because for me, the story I told myself was I wasn't worthy. And so you may be in that situation that you're looking, you're like, I don't know, I'm on this island, I'm in a room with no light, and nobody else has been in this room before. And this is the thing. A lot of people assume that they're unique, that they're the only one that has gone through this before. No, plenty of people have gone through it. But you have to show up and take responsibility, and don't try to be Superman. Like, we are social creatures. We're meant to be around each other. We're meant to have a tribe. But we have this mentality that we have to do everything on our own. And that ain't going to work because you're only one person, and you're going to come up against your limiting beliefs. You're going to come up against these stories that you're telling yourself. And that's why you need to find people that you can surround yourself with. You need to create a tribe that's going to work with you and elevate you and help push you, because that's the only way it's going to change. But you also have to be committed to do the work. Nobody else can do the work for you. You've got to do the work yourself. And that's not the easiest thing. And I think that's where a lot of people end up getting tripped up, and they're like, screw this, I'm throwing in the towel because I don't want to do the work. It's too tough. And this is the thing that when it comes to challenges, embrace the challenges, because those challenges are there to force you to progress. They're there for a reason. But we have this issue where a challenge arises, people want to run away from it, or they want to find an easy way around. The only legitimate way to overcome challenge is to climb and push through it. And that's why you've got to find that tribe. You've got to find the people that can help support you. And so I'm a little fired up right now, just because when I think about this, it's these limiting beliefs that people have. And Patrick had talked about this on our live on Wednesday, that he's sick and tired of just people giving up and not going to their full potential, because people are a lot of people just love the status quo. A lot of people just want to stay in their comfort zone. And that's not what it means to live life. And so I'm excited because tomorrow, well, actually we're coming up on Saturday. So later today, Patrick and I will be sitting down. We'll be meeting with Garrett, talking about some different stuff, but we're also going to be working on the 3rd chapter of the book that's under the Two Native Sons umbrella. And then I think we're also going to be recording the next episode for our just real random podcast. So if you want to go get a laugh and a kick out of what happens and whatnot, go look up the Lost Sock Conundrum, and or the Missing Sock Conundrum. We're on a couple different platforms now, but there's a point in there where we were just true and raw and real and whatnot, but technology had kicked them out, and we went about 5 minutes where, and I also thought we were live. So there's some different stuff when you start listening to it. You'll be like, what's Scott doing? Like, he's yelling at the camera, talking about this and that. And I thought we were live. So, but we were just recording the audio and whatnot. So I had to laugh. But some of this stuff in regards that's really, really sticking out and kind of correlates with what I've talked about is this book. You've got to go get this book. If you want to do some big things and change how you look at work and whatnot, you got to go check out The Buddha and the Badass. I highly suggest it. There's just big things out of here. But this is a big issue where people want to know the how to everything. Like that, you've just got to push. You got to just move forward, and the how is going to align as you're moving forward. But too many people are paralyzed because they don't see the big picture, and they got to know everything. And it's like, that's not how this works. You've got to go with the saying of ready, fire, aim. Too many people are like, ready, aim. Oh, nope. Wait, hold on. The target's not staying in place. Screw that. Ready, fire away, and then make the adjustments. Aim as you're firing, because you're going to have to make pivots anyways. Life's not perfect. These plans that everybody wants perfect is not going to work out, because life is funny that way. It's going to test you. And so in here, in the Buddha and the Badass, the Sheen had talked and stated that you start with the why and the what. You rally the troops. The point is to then figure out the how together. And so this is a thing in regards to this aspect here that we think we know everything. And so we try to build a business. We try to build teams and whatnot. And we want to micromanage everybody. And that's where you've got to know where you're weak at. And you've got to find those people that you can surround yourself with that are strong in your weak areas, and let them go do what they're best at. because Dennis actually had talked about this today, was the fact that I've got a comment here. Let's see. On shot first. Gary Schwartz had talked about Han shot first, so we're going Star Wars and whatnot there. But Dennis had talked about the fact that we have this misnomer that when it comes to relationships that women should be cooking. But he's like, think about it. In a relationship, the person that's best at whatever it is, if it's finance and it's the wife that's good at finances, let the wife take it over. If the husband's great at cooking, do that. But it's like we have these ideas that everybody's got to follow these rules and fall in line and all this crazy shit. No, like find the people that are good in your areas that you suck at. Yeah, we all suck at certain areas. Find people that are strong in that area, have them go do that, have them fulfill that role, and have them do what they're best at. Because that's going to allow you to focus on your strengths. That's going to allow you to focus on the big vision. If you're building a business or you're running a corporation, anything like that, you can focus on the big vision. Have other people around you that can drive the vision that you have. Have them put the fuel in there that will drive everybody to get to that big vision. And so that's where it just comes into play. You've got to surround yourself with people that are strong in your weak areas. But we have a lot of people that are like, I can do this all on my own. Good luck with that. So you're going to end up getting stuck and whatnot. So just some things to consider and whatnot. But for myself, big things taking place. Hopefully you have things that are taking place that are huge for you too. But like I said, myself and Miriam have our workshop that will be coming out on the 17th of October, finishing up some stuff in Eventbrite, and we should have that. I should have that complete by Sunday. And once that link's up and running, I'll share it. If that's something that really is resonating with you, sign up. Let's work together. Let's create our tribe and work together. If you know somebody that needs that assistance, that needs that tribe, that just feels like they're stuck and they don't know what to do, let's work with them. Let's help them out. Instead of being selfish jerks and be like, oh, I know somebody that could benefit from this, but I'm not going to say anything. Why? If you have something that can help somebody else, share it with them. Same thing with the podcast. I've talked and we've spoken on different things that it may benefit people that are in a good relationship, but there's things that they may not consider. So share the podcast with people. Even though it's titled The Journey Beyond Divorce, there's things that we talk about that could benefit people, regardless if you're in a relationship by yourself, in a good, healthy relationship, whatever it is, share with people. Because ultimately, for people to have success, it's the relationships, it's sharing word of mouth and all that stuff. It's huge, it's powerful and whatnot. But then I should have the next episode of the Umbrella Approach. I'm finishing up some stuff. I love technology, but should have that episode out later today. The latest would be Sunday and whatnot. So just some big things taking place. But if you guys have anything that you need help with, if you have things that you really don't know direction-wise to go with, reach out to me. I've got myself that can sit down and talk to you and help you out. But if I don't know, I know a lot of people that can benefit you and help you out. Don't be hesitant. Don't be scared to reach out because you're scared of being judged. This is, for me, it's a non-judgment aspect. Ultimately, it's to help each other out and achieve big things together. But also, I want to be part of your journey and cheer you on and see you succeed. Because ultimately, it's a big collaboration piece. We have to work together and whatnot. And so the more we can help each other out, the more value that we can provide people, the better off we're going to be as a society. So it's just all I'm driven for, ultimately, is just to make huge impacts in the lives of others. So, and I've talked about it. My big goal is 10 million people, impacting 10 million people. Honestly, though, with what I see with Two Native Sons and what we're bringing within that business alone is going to impact 10 million people. So I've looked at my goal and have 10x'd it. So it's going up to 100 million people. And that's a large number, but it can be done. And if I miss that goal and I half it, 50 million people, that's still huge. But if it's 20 million, cool. Let's go do big things. We have big vehicles where people can jump in, work together, but also allow you to go after your dreams and your goals that you have and work together to allow you to go after them and help you out. So other than that, I'll catch you guys later. It's Saturday morning. So thank you for your time. Thank you for checking this out. If this is a replay, #replay. Any aha moments that you may have taken away from this, love to hear those aha moments and kind of see what you picked up. Or if you have a different perspective, would love to hear that. Share your perspective because, like I said, it's always a learning opportunity. There may be something that you see differently than I see, and I would love to hear that just because that allows me to take a look and say, okay, is this something that I'm missing? Maybe this is something that could potentially allow me to see a point a little bit differently and whatnot. And so I'm always open to hear that. And I love to hear the perspective of other people, the opinions of other people, because that's a beautiful thing. As humans, we each have our own opinion. So, but again, thank you for your time. I'll catch you guys later. I love you. Peace.